The beatification of the Smiling Pope, and highlights of Pope Francis' visit to an interfaith conference in Kazakhstan. These stories and more on this edition of Vatican Express, brought to you by Rome Reports and Food for the Poor. His papacy lasted only 33 days, but in 1978, Albino Luciani was already a pope of firsts. He refused to be crowned or to be carried around on a throne, and he chose two names, becoming Pope John Paul I. He also quickly earned the title of the Smiling Pope. When Pope Francis beatified him in St. Peter's Square on September 4th, he pointed out how, with that smile, John Paul I communicated Christian joy and goodness, exactly what we need to do today.
E con il sorriso Papa Luciani è riuscito a trasmettere la bontà del Signore. È bella una chiesa con il volto lieto, il volto sereno, il volto sorridente.
During the month of September, Pope Francis continued his usual meetings with various groups in the Vatican, like this one, a group of artists whom he described as preachers of beauty. The Pope was less poetic and more forthright when he spoke to the Premonstratensians, a religious order founded by St. Norbert in France in the 12th century. Pope Francis reminded them of what Jesus says about choosing to serve God or money.
Che non si può servire a due signori, no? O tu servi a Dio. Io mi aspettavo che dicesse o al diavolo, non dice al diavolo, a Dio o ai soldi.
But the main papal event in September was Pope Francis' trip to Kazakhstan to attend an interfaith conference, officially called the 7th Congress of Leaders of World and Traditional Religions. The visit allowed the Pope to have private meetings with various religious leaders and to speak about a theme that's particularly close to his heart: peace.
Non abituiamoci alla guerra, non rassegniamoci alla sua ineludibilità. Soccorriamo chi soffre e insistiamo perché si provi davvero a raggiungere la pace.
The leader of the Russian Orthodox Church, Patriarch Kirill of Moscow, was originally scheduled to attend the conference and then changed his mind. Pope Francis had hoped to meet him and was clearly disappointed. However, the Pope did meet a delegation that was in Kazakhstan on the Patriarch's behalf.
Tutto bene. Ci siamo sentiti ieri e mi ha chiesto di trasmettere i suoi saluti. Grazie.
One of the Pope's last audiences before leaving for Kazakhstan was with participants at the 3rd International Congress on Catechesis. Pope Francis encouraged them to never tire of their ministry and to offer a living experience of their faith. Then, speaking off the cuff, he advised them not to turn catechism classes into boring lectures that involve scolding and finger wagging.
Offrire, il dito in tasca, fare la lezione, quello è, no, fare i catechisti.
And that's all from this edition of Vatican Express. Make sure to join us next time. You're watching Rome Reports production, brought to you by Food for the Poor, providing food, housing, healthcare, and more to people living in extreme poverty. To find out more about Food for the Poor, scan this QR code.